Hey guys, my name is Steph and I talk about bipolar disorder and how that has directly impacted my life. So I had a viewer ask, how can I help my girlfriend when she's sick? How can I help her? I struggled with this question a lot. One, I've only been researching and learning about my illness for a few years. Before it was really difficult to acknowledge and recognize. So if she's bipolar type 1 and she's in full-blown psychosis, there's really not a whole lot you can do. You can make sure that she's safe, that she isn't threatening or talking about killing herself, and not leave her alone. But you can't really calm a person. Their brain isn't working. A lot of people think bipolar disorder is just mood swings. I'm pretty sure that's what my family thinks, that one day you're in a really good mood, the next day you're in a really bad mood, and you're just in a bad mood, and that's why you're being really, really, really verbally abusive and mean to your family members or your loved ones. It's not like that. It's a complete lack of control of your thinking, your emotions, and your behavior. It's almost like somebody else has the remote control to your brain and your life, and you're kind of sleeping. And you might wake up every now and then to witness what's going on, but for the majority of it, you're sleeping. Your brain is working far too fast and you're not the one in control of it. So it's nearly impossible to calm someone when they are in a psychotic state. In a psychotic state, we experience auditory hallucinations and visual hallucinations sometimes. There's a YouTube channel called Polar Warriors by this guy, Rob, and he's super cool. His channel has been really helpful to me. Rob did a video a while ago about 10 ways to help someone. And I'm going to react to those, go through them, and tell you how they have helped me or are things that I currently have in place. One is strategic activities. To give you an example, when I was in college, I went out and I partied a lot. I was in college, I went out dancing, drinking, hanging out with friends. Had I known about my illness back then, this is something I would not have done. And if I had done, I would have limited to maybe you can go out and drink and dance, but you have to be home by midnight because you have a class at 9 a.m. and you have to make sure you get 8 hours sleep. It's crucial for someone with bipolar disorder to monitor their sleep. I've said this over and over again. When you don't get sleep, it sends your brain into a different place. It's trying overly hard to function. Another thing with strategic activities is they don't always work. One of the hardest things and most dangerous things for bipolar people is crossing over time zones, because you lose sleep and it's confusing and it messes with your body chemistry and everything. So, for example, we're going on a trip to Mexico, my husband and I, and my husband booked a trip specifically at the time where it would be okay for me to travel and I would be able to get back and sleep and be able to take care of myself properly. The airline canceled our flight, and so we had to reschedule, and now our flight is a red eye at midnight. So this is horribly dangerous for me. We're going to manage it. I have my husband with me to help me through these things, but that's a perfect example as to how unforeseen events can damage your life or make your life more complicated. Boundaries. When I was in my psychotic episode, I emptied out my entire retirement. My husband, in order to protect us both financially, got a legal separation. We still have it in place to this day, and I am debating as to whether I should undo it. There's no guarantee, even though I'm on medication, that I won't have a severe psychotic episode and try to buy a new car or try to take out a huge loan. I have a plan of action if you do get sick. My husband and I have talked about this. There's a lot of nasty hospitals out there, and there are very few good ones, depending on your insurance. So I've already talked to him about, if I get sick and I have an episode and you have to take me to a hospital, make sure you take me to Westwood. Number 4 is help them notice their behaviors. So if you have a loved one who is not sleeping, or if they are starting to talk really quick or moving furniture around the house constantly, starting to be more irritable with you, these are things that you should be able to bring up to your loved one, the most important thing above all is you have to have an open line of communication. If one person is not comfortable talking about bipolar disorder, either the loved one or the one with the illness, there's no point in any of this. You're not going to be able to help, and they're not going to trust you to help them. It's actually really irritating to me when my husband says, "How much did you sleep last night?" But even though it's irritating, it sends off a voice in my head that says, hey, maybe he's right. Maybe you do need to take a nap because you've only got about 5.5 hours of sleep last night, and you know that's a dangerous place for you. And I want to really do this because I want to make sure I do this in every video from now on. It's really important to acknowledge if you're someone struggling with bipolar disorder, it's really important to acknowledge the pain and the things that your family has to do for you. Go the extra mile. It's important to acknowledge their pain, their struggle. It's important to acknowledge all of this. I try to do my best to own everything I've done, but the problem is I don't remember a lot of what I've done, and my family is not comfortable speaking about bipolar disorder with me. Number 5, which is learn. If you think that bipolar disorder is mood swings, how could you not hate the person that you're trying to help? If you don't know and understand, and it's really, really difficult to understand how it actually impacts someone's life. But the more you know. Number 6, Rob brought up, was monitor your partner's mood if they will let you. I didn't really like this. I do agree. I don't know, the term monitoring someone's mood is kind of frightening. But when he explains it, he says there's apps. There's an app that tracks your mood, and you can like print a chart and you can take that to your doctor. So that seemed really beneficial. But, you know, like I said, my husband monitoring my sleep. Number 7, if you're trying to help someone with bipolar disorder, remember you are not a doctor. So, for example, my stepmother told me that, oh, you know, my sister was diagnosed with bipolar disorder, and because she knows about mental illness, she knew to take her to a psychiatrist. And the truth of the matter is she doesn't know shit about bipolar disorder, like literally nothing. When my sister came here, she's bipolar type 2. She had no idea what hypomania was. She didn't know to monitor her sleep. She didn't know about her illness at all. She just knew that this medication makes her feel better. And unfortunately, that's what happens when you go to a psychiatrist. If you're bipolar and you go to the doctor is going to look at your behavior and say, you need this medication. They're not going to tell you, look, you need to watch out for this. You need to watch out for this. This is what we know about your disease. None of that happens. So you need all these other sources like the internet and friends and NAMI and helplines, suicide hotlines, crisis lines, phone lines. There's all these different resources out there, but you have to look for them. There's ways to learn about your illnesses, to read studies, but you have to learn about it. So it's important to remember that if you're trying to help someone, you can't do that unless you understand the disease and you know about the disease. And like I said, I've been researching and trying to learn about my disease and how my life should be, who I should be, for a few years, and I still struggle. So I have a video that I posted on my channel, how to help someone in a manic episode, and basically it resulted in calling the police. This was my only option at this point. This person was a danger to themselves and others. She had an hour prior driven down a one-way street going the opposite direction. A few hours prior to that, she got beat up by someone at a dog park. So that situation was extreme. If you can avoid calling the police at all, I agree with Rob on this 100%, avoid it if you can. If you Google mentally ill person killed by police, you're probably going to get shitloads of results. There was a woman who lived in Torrance in 2016. She even made a video, which I'll link to below. She made a video. She was addressing her mental health. She was talking about her mental health 11 years ago. And then 6 years ago, she was shot and killed by police. I don't know if her medication stopped working or what, but her name was Michelle Lee Shirley. And she had graduated law school. She was incredibly intelligent. She had a son. She was driving in Torrance erratically. A symptom of bipolar disorder and mania is, I remember driving 100 miles down the street through stop signs on the freeway, driving 110 miles an hour. So she was driving erratically, and she had already hit something. Her passenger airbag had already been deployed. So the police noticed and tried to go after her, and she backed into a police car, and they shot and killed her because she was trying to evade the police, and then she crashed into a car. So she died. And this is something that happens because knowledge about mental illness is unknown. So it's really sad. So again, let's not call the cops if we can avoid it. Particularly if you are in the US and you are a minority. Number 9, you have to take care of yourself. Years ago, somebody reached out to me on Instagram because I made a post for mental health. She had been with her partner for 19 years. And she did not know what was wrong with her partner. He was exhibiting all the symptoms of bipolar disorder. And she, I guess, finally got a diagnosis for him, but he is resistant to treatment to this day. So I always tell her, you know, focus on what you like to do, see a counselor. When someone you love has a severe episode, or you experience a lot of trauma from someone in your family who has bipolar disorder, that it's insane to think that you yourself don't need help, because you have experienced all of that trauma just like they have. So if you feel like you're dying inside and you feel helpless and you feel all this pain and you feel this frustration and anger, the best thing for you to take care of yourself is to talk to someone. It's not something that people should see as a weakness. Number 10, take advantage of the good times. This is when you can really help someone. When they are ready to hang out, ready to be around you, you can carefully bring up the topic of bipolar disorder. If I was trying to teach someone else about bipolar disorder, I would probably suggest a documentary, or there was the best show. It was called Modern Love, and it had Anne Hathaway. It does an amazing job of explaining bipolar disorder type 2. So if you can get that show somehow, do it, because I saw it when I was in outpatient hospital, and it was very triggering, but very true. If you want to know what it's like, really want to know what it's like to live with bipolar, go to some videos that talk about bipolar disorder and read the comments below. You'll see both. You'll see people who have experienced extreme pain because of their loved one. And you'll also see people who are living with bipolar disorder. We'll talk about how they deny their illness. I try not to look at it because it makes me kind of have a pity party for myself and feel bad for myself, but this is just something I have to deal with and live with. When somebody's in full-blown mania and psychosis, the only thing that you can do is make sure they're safe. You can keep trying to talk to them, you can keep trying to reason with them, but when somebody is already in psychosis, it's very, very, very difficult to reach them, especially if they are high functioning, meaning they can kind of fool a lot of people into thinking that they're not in an episode. So yeah, that's it. If you guys have any questions, please put them below. If you have any comments, please put it below in the comments. I'm gonna put a link to the video that I was talking about. And I would like to put a couple of links in memory of Michelle. So I'm going to show you, I'll put links. Please look for the links down below. You can watch the video that she posted about bipolar disorder. And I do think that her video was really helpful in understanding bipolar disorder. It just has a very sad ending that she's no longer with us and her son no longer has a mother. Not to scare you guys, but this is the reality of the situation. So I hope this helped. Have a great day. Until next time. Thank you. Bye, guys.